Hey everybody, it's Commander Clyde. Welcome back to another patch notes video. It's been a while since we've done one of these, but Season 6 is here, and that is what we're going to talk about today. I believe ranked is down anyway, so it's the best time for us to do this video. Smite 6.1 update notes. I don't know if I will want to go through Merlin right now. I may do that in a separate video. But so yeah, there's a lot to cover with him, so I think that would be best actually to cover him in a separate video. We'll talk about everything else in the patch. Just quickly mention, there he is, Merlin, the Master Wizard, for all of you to enjoy. And that's all we're going to really talk about with him, apart from the fact he's got 3 stances. It's different from every other stance switcher. So there's that. We'll talk about him in detail at another time. For now, let's go to here. We have a couple of Arthur sort of inspired skins here. The Knight of Mordred Achilles, the nice red armor with the nice plate armor here with the red detailing. It's nice. Lady of the Lake Freya. It's a cool skin if you know about the Lady of the Lake legend. In Arthurian myth, this is a cool skin. Infinite Shift Sun Wukong. This is a little bit strange. I don't know if I like this skin. And then more of the, I guess, Zootopia themed skins. Really not a better description. Heavy hitter Anubis doing a little boxing. And Dragon Empress Scylla. There's already skin like this. This is just different color. Gladiator Guan Yu, which is interesting. Guan Yu has not gotten a new skin in quite a while, so there's one for you folks who like armored combat. Scarlet Judgment Nemesis, which looks similar to a skin we already have. Yeah, some of them tend to start looking the same when you release enough skins on one god. And here's the Baron skin. This is just like a recolor, even though there's already a recolor. I don't know what the point of this is. And then TB Soul. Here, I guess they put the dress on to make her a little more kid-friendly. And then Merlin Mastery skins. Alright, moving on. A lot of this is going to be bugs and changes to Conquest, things like that. Anyway, awesome chess stuff getting added. Just a bunch of skins. And then bug fixes. These are like really weird. I may skip all these. These are a lot of tiny bugs that weren't really an issue. I don't care. Let's get to some of the more important stuff. They talk about the Battle Pass. The Smite Battle Pass is coming to Season 6. Each Battle Pass will be themed around a specific set of content, and players will be able to earn battle points from playing Smite to progress each pass. Each pass has 2 tracks, a free track with multiple rewards, and a paid track that unlocks additional rewards and a boost to battle points earned. Be on the lookout through the year as additional battle passes are added to progress through. Hey. New system progression. Starting battle passes, players can earn battle points BP from playing any normal or ranked game modes. Players can earn a series of rewards for free by earning BP. The battle pass can also be purchased, instantly unlocking a skin, increasing the amount of BP earned, and unlocking another series of rewards that can be unlocked by earning BP. Triumphant chest system has been removed. These chests will now be earned at specific battle pass levels. Triumphant chests existed to reward players each week for coming to Smite and playing. The battle pass system itself was designed to fulfill this role and largely made the system redundant. Okay. Season ticket has been removed. Bleh. Words. Fantasy point team boosters will be converted to BP team boosters, if you have any. There's no FP. Everything is battle pass. So no more season ticket. Alright. Project Olympus stuff, crossplay. Players on Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC can now play with and against each other. Normal modes crossplay will be on by default. A new option has been added to the settings menu where console players can restrict their crossplay. Ranked game modes will continue to be their platform only, except the combination of Xbox One and Nintendo Switch, since this does not have a strong player base at the moment. They probably will just keep that way, though. That's probably better. Players may now add friends from other platforms to their friends list and invite them to parties, invite them to clans, etc. Anyway, cross progression. Players will now be able to enjoy all their content and progress on PC, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Link your Smite accounts on multiple platforms to a single high-res account to merge progression. All unlocked gods and skins that any merged account has unlocked will be available. All earned currency and all merged accounts will be added together, as well as worshippers. We will release more updates on how exactly to link and merge accounts as we approach the cross-progression launch day. As someone who has played Xbox One Smite, not a whole lot, I mean, enough to play ranked. I'm like level 40 on my Xbox account. I like this because, remember in the beginning you could do this while the Xbox One version was in beta. I wasn't able to do that, so I never got to merge my accounts at that time, which kind of sucked. Basically having to replay it through everything and re-unlock the same stuff you've already got on another platform, and that's not fun, that's boring. This is going to help a lot, and maybe I will actually go back to Xbox One, or start playing Xbox One Smite again. But we'll see. Excited about this one too. Roll Q. We are excited to talk about a new feature coming to Season 6, Roll Q. Players will be able to select 2 roles they want to play in Conquest, and the matchmaker will attempt to match everyone in the game to one of their preferred roles. While we will try to ensure everyone gets a role they want, this won't always be possible. If you do not get a preferred role, you will accumulate points that will increase your chances of getting your preferred role. Ranked will work a bit differently, prioritizing the top 2 players for each team for their roles before assigning roles to everyone else. For those in Ranked who fail to get a role they have preferred, they will get a small TP bonus after the game to reward them for filling the needed role. So, anyway, normal Conquest and Ranked Conquest will now have Roll Q. Before queuing, select your top 2 roles, blah, 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 blah. We basically read all that. If there are any... Oh, this one, it doesn't say. Up here, if there are any tie scenarios, the player with a higher MMR in Ranked or the player who has not gotten their preferred role recently will get priority. So, Roll Q. This is a great thing because it removes the crap of people being like, type in the chat fast, enter it before everyone else does, and then get your role. Now, you don't have to do that anymore because the game's not going to force you in that bullshit, because that's going to put you with people who have called different roles already. So it removes that. It also removes, not that this happened a lot, but some people could get stuck in a role they don't want. Maybe they're upset about it and they play badly on purpose. I don't know if anybody griefed their team like that. I'm sure there's assholes out there who would. Now that you have an incentive for actually, winning the game, even if you're not in your preferred role, then maybe you'll actually try and play the role correctly. So you get the TP bonus. But anyway, this is just a good quality of life change. It makes it a little more enjoyable of a game because you're less likely to be stuck playing a role that you're not good at. A bunch of rank stuff. Earlier this year, we outlined our plan for Season 6 ranked, but as we approached the date and we realized we need some time to execute fully on our intended plans, we will be making some initial changes for the first split, with the rest of our plan changes, including visible MMR and the removal of qualification games, planned for the second split. Ranked in Season 6 will have shorter splits and around roughly 2 months each. Players will be able to fight for a place on the ladder more often through the year, but we want to ensure players can climb with the lower amount of time. We are increasing the rate at which TP is gained, allowing players to progress much more quickly through divisions and tiers. We are also removing rewards from the top end placements of the God Leaderboard and Grandmaster's tier, but making gem rewards available to everyone that fights for their placement on the ladder. We are excited to see how our ranked players push the meta forward in Season 6. Ranked will be soft reset in 6.1. TP gain has been increased, allowing players to progress through ranks at a more rapid pace to match the reduced split length. The first rank split will end on the first day of patch 6.5. Rewards will no longer be given out based on rank or God Leaderboard rank. Players can still earn a skin and loading frame by winning 75 games and 150 games throughout all of Season 6. Players will now earn a winner's chest each split for 15 wins in ranked. Players will now earn 50 gems each split for 75 wins in ranked. Future ranked changes. Tentatively scheduled for update 6.5. Players will no longer play qualifying games, but will now start in bronze, showing MMR in the UI, MMR-based leaderboards. Yay. So this is a much more interesting thing, because you're not doing qualifying games. I think this is more reliable of a system, because early on, if everyone's bronze, everyone's going to be fighting against each other, but it'll shake out the people who aren't that good, that'll get stuck around there, and the people who are really good, who will beat most of the players and will beat players consistently, and then they'll start slowly seeing players of higher skill, and then slowly your skills will be matched with the appropriate players. So if you're Masters or GM, you'll fly through bronze and silver and gold and plat probably, and then you'll start seeing tougher players as you gradually rank up. And I like that system better because it's less, I feel like it's less frustrating than qualifying games, because you got to play those 10 games, and a couple of losses can make a huge difference in where you get placed. With this, it doesn't matter anymore. You just keep on grinding until you get there. And early on, it won't feel like such a chore, because you won't feel like you're getting screwed for a loss or two in that system. So I like that. Season 5 team badges. I didn't even know what these were. So I'm going to skip that. New design features. I'm not going to read all this. We're going to be here for a long time if I try to do that. So, wait. Kill bounty adjustments. Just going to read the bullet points. Not going to read the full descriptions. Increase the gold and experience adjustments for players killing a player that is a different level. New formulas only apply to players killing higher level targets. Old formula for XP 50 plus 30 times victim level times 1 plus 0.1 times victim level minus killer level. Ooh, math. New formula. That side stays the same, times 1 plus 0.25 times victim level minus killer level. And here's the gold formula. Mode base value plus 0.01 times net gold times 1 plus 0.1 times victim level minus killer level times 0.1 times victim spree. if the victim has a spree. I guess. Of base values, all they did was increase this multiplier to 0.2, increase this multiplier to 0.15. The adjustments to the victim's spree multiples is increased in all cases, not just if the victim was higher in level. So, better rewards for killing players that are higher level than you. It's always great. Comeback mechanics are always better than not having them. Because if you're able to beat someone that's a higher level, you know, that's a big deal. You should get a big reward for it, right? So that's good. New objective, Totem of Coup. Located behind the fire giant by the solo lane's middle entrance. This objective is a neutral structure, not a boss monster. Base health 300. Health increases by 200 each time it is successfully taken. Base physical protection 15. Base magical protection 10. Spawns at 1 minute. Respawns 1 minute after it is successfully taken. Despawns at 15 minutes. And the way it works is you deal damage to it, and once its full health for that spawn has been taken, whichever player did the most damage to it at that time, their team will get a small buff. Once active, the first team that deals enough damage to the totem will have all of their tower areas empowered. Ally gods that step into the empowered area receive a buff. 5% movement speed, 25 MP5, plus 25 gold to each team member when it is taken. Buff lasts for 10 seconds when leaving an empowered tower. Empowered tower area lasts 1 minute. Minion spawn time. Minions now spawn 1 minute after the game starts, down from 1 minute and 30 seconds. Fountains will now boost movement speed of players leaving the fountain during this countdown, allowing them to get to map locations and lanes quickly. This fades shortly after the match begins. So lowering pre-game time, which is fun, makes games feel faster, and you're not sitting around doing nothing waiting on waves, which is always better than doing nothing. And I really hated that. It used to be a lot lower. It used to be lower, and then they moved it up, and then everyone's like, why have you done this? The game's boring now. All I do is sit in base and do nothing. Whee! Anyway, minion balance. Brute minion spawn rules have been changed. Previously, a brute would spawn every third wave, with 1 brute at a time from 0 minutes to 10 minutes, 2 brutes at a time from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, and 3 brutes at a time from 20 minutes plus. Now brutes will spawn differently after 10 minutes. Brutes will now spawn every third wave, 1 brute at a time, from 0 minutes to 10 minutes unchanged. After 10 minutes, 1 brute will spawn on every wave. After 20 minutes, 2 brutes will spawn. After 30, 3 brutes will spawn. Gold Fury now has 2 additional forms, Oni Gold Fury, Primal Gold Fury. The first spawn will always be base Gold Fury. Each spawn after the first will be randomly chosen from the other 2 Furies, avoiding repeats. Oni Fury provides the following rewards on the next round of minions spawned. All minions in all 3 lanes will gain bonus damage increase 75%, bonus health increase 30%, physical protection increase 50%, magical protection increase 60%. Primal Fury provides the following rewards. All gods on the killing team gain 5% increased damage to jungle camps and bosses. Stacks up to 3 times. These Furies provide decreased gold rewards, but also give unique bonuses to the team who slays them. Decrease the base gold reward from 150 to 115. Decrease gold increase per minute from 6 to 5. Their XP reward is consistent with the base gold Fury. Players can track the status of the Primal Fury buff for each team by viewing torches above the Oracle pits. A torch will light for each application of this buff. Okay, so this brings some interesting strategy ideas to the game, because now before you take a Gold Fury after the first take, you can strategize around when your next minion wave is spawning, and try to get a buff so you can push a tower off of the Gold Fury take. Things like that. Give you more pressure to do other things, or coordinate it when it's a Primal Fury with your camp spawns so you can get them quickly, or potentially quickly steal enemy camps. That's always good. More strategy in the game, I think, is always a good thing. Making you think is a very positive direction for the game to go. That's where it used to be a lot more. It's become less so that way, but they seem to be trying to turn things back around this season, which I can appreciate. Pyromancer. The torch is now visible above the Pyromancer that becomes lit to indicate that a buff is active and which team currently has obtained its buff. I think they'll just float, those just float above the game map. Or it's just like a beam of light. Something. Anyway. Fire Giant. Fire Giant and Enhanced Fire Giant will now use the Magma Pool's ability. There will be 1 second warning deployable under each god in the area. After the warning, the area will become damaging magma. Current rotation is 2 basic attacks, Rift, 2 basic attacks, Fury, 2 basic attacks, Flames. This line happens once. 2 basic attacks, Rift, 2 basic attacks, Fury. This line loops. New rotation, 2 basic attacks, Rift, 2 basic attacks, Fury, 2 basic attacks, Flames. This stays the same. Occurs once. Second rotation, 1 basic attack, Pools, 1 basic, Rift, 1 basic, Fury. This line loops. Fire Giant base health increased from 6,000 to 7,000. Fire Giant health per level increased from 225 to 275. Fire Giant base protections increased from... This is for physical and magical, 9050 to 11070. Enhanced Fire Giant base health increased from 6,000 to 8,000. Enhanced Fire Giant health per level increased from 225 to 275. Enhanced Fire Giant base protections increased from 9050 to 12585. Enhanced Fire Giant base power increased from 130 to 15020. Enhanced Fire Giant buff now allows players to ignore 50% of towers' backdoor protection. Okay, just if you get to that Enhanced Fire Giant stage, they want you to end the game because they really don't want them to last long anymore. And that's good. You don't want to be sitting in a game for 45 minutes to win or lose. That's not what people want. They don't want that. They want to get in and out of games quickly and get that TP farm. Right. Technical changes, small harpies, decreased base health from 150 to 130, increased health per level from 55 to 70, increased base magical protection from 0 to 5. Large harpies, decreased base health from 410 to 380, increased health per level from 55 to 75, increased base magical protection from 0 to 5. Buff holders, decreased base health from 470 to 440, increased health per level from 125 to 145, increased base magical protection from 0 to 5. Oracles increased base magical protection from 0 to 5. Gold Fury increased Gold Fury physical protection per level from 1 to 1.5. Decreased Gold Fury health per level from 275 to 250. Decreased Gold Fury physical power from 140 to 120. Increased Gold Fury physical power per level from 0 to 2. So everything on first spawn is a little bit weaker, making it easier. They start to get tougher as the game progresses. It's base protection. They also seem to be nerfing mage clear here, because mages do have really good ability clear, and I guess they want to get a handle on mages a little bit by giving everything base magical protection. Oh, towers and phoenixes. These structures now have a visual effect on them if backdoor protections are currently active on the structure. Yay! Anyway, the blessings that are banned in Conquest are quite powerful, although many players often overlook them. All of them stack a little too quickly for our liking, and we are increasing the amount of stacks required. Defenders and specialists are the underperforming and underpopulated blessings compared to attackers, so they are receiving stat boosts as well as smaller nerfs to stack speed. Alright, item balance. I haven't been going that long. I don't think my throat's already getting sore. All this talking. Attacker's Blessing. Increased stacks required to evolve from 50 to 100. This thing was stacking too quickly. There were some gods who could stack it in the 1 to 2 waves. That's too fast to get a benefit from an item. Especially when you could also do a wave and do some camps, and then you're stacked. Anyway, Defender's Blessing. Increased stacks required to evolve from 50 to 75. Evolve Defender's Blessing. Increase health from 100 to 150. Increase mana from 100 to 150. I was not seeing this item built much. I didn't build it myself almost at all, so I don't really care. I don't know that this will have a big impact on anything. Specialist Blessing. Increased MP5 from 10 to 20. Increased stacks required to evolve from 50 to 75. Relatively underpicked item, so 10 more MP5. Maybe you'll think about it on some of the more mana-hungry mages. My eye. Heck. Dude. Alright. Warrior's Blessing. Increase health and mana restored per trigger from 30 to 40. Which it's actually 40 is what it used to be when they put it in the game. Evolved Warrior's Blessing has 15 protections. Again. So they've basically reset it to how it started. Well, they didn't buff the mana gain. Wait, yeah, they did. Why? I mean, alright, these were the underpicked ones. Why did this one get buffed? So it will be reverted, and the changes to Conquest map are being made with the intent of bringing warriors back to the lane and encouraging aggression. These changes should naturally decrease the amount of passive Guardian Blessing playstyle in this lane. For this reason, we are not changing Guardian's Blessing to stack differently. Prefer to keep that item in a state that decreases as much frustration as possible in the duo lane. Okay. Because people hate duo lane. This is funny. They want to bring warriors back to the solo lane meta, which I'm always happy about, especially when this item also works really well with a couple of guardians too that I happen to like. But Vamana, though, let's talk about Vamana. Yes, he's gonna like that. Horrific Emblem has shown to be a very powerful and poisonous relic. This thing is evil. Destroy it. Anyway, that was the dominant strategy during Season 5's HRX. This item is being toned down across the board to help other relics better compete with it. Decreased slow from 40 to 30%. Decreased attack speed slow from 25 to 15%. Upgraded. Decreased slow from 40 to 30%. Attack speed slow remains at 25%. Decreased damage dealt debuff from 20 to 15%. Nobody liked this item. It's anti-fun, and there's really cheap strategies you can do early with it to just get stupid early kills, and I hate it. It's a cheap relic. Because I've been in situations too where people are already fighting a god with terrible mobility when they have ways to easily secure kills on a target, and they build this anyway, and I'm just like, what is the point? Do you just hate people? Do you just like suffering? Is your life miserable? Anyway. Whatever. Skipping this, there's a new elixir speed. This consumable increases your movement speed by 18% permanently. Once you buy it, it's 2,000 gold. This effect does not stack with movement speed from boots or shoes. This effect lasts X minutes. It gives you it based on... So does it stack with other movement items? I guess. I mean, it makes sense if it's just a base add-on. This item is only available in Conquest. This item is not worth it. Do not buy it under any circumstance. It's really stupid. I mean, there's situations, yes, you can sell your boots to get an item and then buy this, but then you still got to pay the 2,000 gold to get the item, and you're going to lose gold for selling your boots to get another item that's probably more expensive than your boots. Why would I do this? It's a huge pain in the ass, and it doesn't even give me. I don't even get enough gold to buy this for a long time, which means it can work on like support gods, but you have less gold because you're a support. Unless you have guardians and you're using it efficiently. But I mean, guardian's blessing and you're efficient with it, then maybe you'll have enough gold to do this. But this isn't going to be good. People are going to be like, let me build this on an assassin, and I'm going to be like, no, don't do that. Because I don't think you do better buying this late. So, better off with boots, in my opinion. There's like edge scenarios. I mean, people can experiment with it. We'll see how it works. I don't think it's going to help. It's going to be a particularly helpful item. Anyway, items, magical Doom Orb has an interesting effect, but it never found a home in mage builds due to its lack of in-game potential. We are moving Doom Orb up to a tier 3 item, adding a new tier 2 version to remedy this. Now mages should be able to see this item as a contender. Wait, tier 2 Cursed Orb costs 1,600 gold, 55 magical power, 75 mana, 20 MP5 to 20 plus 20 MP5 to 15 MP5. What? What are they trying to say there? I don't know. Plus 3% movement speed. Passive, killing or assisting an enemy minion provides you with 1 stack, granting 1% movement speed and 3 magical power per stack. Stacks last for 10 seconds. And stack up to 5 times. Enemy gods provide 5 stacks. New Doom Orb costs 3,200 gold. Yeehaw! 135 magical power, 200 mana. Fit this in a mana build. Book of the Dead. You get what I'm saying. This means you can build this on mages with garbage mobility and then get Book of the Dead, and they have better survivability and they move faster when they kill or assist on an enemy minion. Think about it, Zeus Doom Orb. Ooh, yeah. That used to be a thing. I think. Might be wrong. Anyway. Killing or assisting on an enemy minion provides you with 1 stack, granting 1% movement speed and 6 magical power per stack. Stacks last for 15 seconds and stack up to 5 times. Enemy gods provide 5 stacks. Woo. Anyway, Book of Thoth Rush was a popular strategy throughout the year. Not only was the tier 2 Book of Souls a powerful starting option, but Book of Thoth had a heavy power spike upon completion. We are decreasing the power Book of Souls while also adjusting the Book of Thoth to only synergize with mana from items. Players who fully commit to a heavy mana build will see more power than before, but alone it won't pack quite the same punch. So the item has less mana. That is what I was talking about, guys. I see the live patch notes, and I see, oh, this is 200 mana. The movement speed, oh, that's nice. And then I see this. Well, okay, decreased magic power on that. But then I see this. It's like, oh wait, you get more power from items. So wait, why don't I just build boots? Why don't I just get this and this, Book of the Dead, a pen item, and then I go nuts, right? You just pop off and go crazy, and then everyone dies. Because a mana build could be broken as shit now. Anyway, Book of Thought, decreased cost from 2800 to 2650. Passive now only converts mana gain from items. Increased amount of mana converted to magical power from 3 to 6%. Increased bonus mana conversion when evolved from 2% to 3%. So you don't get base mana. I also believe you don't get it from Book of Thought itself. I don't remember how that's going to interact. Anyway, Soul Reaver is another item that largely determined which mages were meta. This item has a strong role as a counter tank item and needs to remain at a similar power level for that purpose. However, we saw that this item was much more effective on gods with low cooldowns and multiple damaging abilities. The goal of the 6.1 changes are to keep Soul Reaver's counter tank potential strong, but to help it perform more equally across the entire mage class. Enemies that get hit by Soul Reaver's bonus damage will take 50% less damage from this effect on subsequent hits. This reduction lasts 3 seconds and refreshes on hit. Does that only happen if you have multiple Soul Reavers? I don't know. Obsidian Shard is a powerful tank buster item, but at 2150 gold it was cost efficient enough to see use in almost all games regardless of the presence of tanks. We are adjusting its cost and stats to ensure it is a strong choice against tanks, but not a catch-all answer. Increased cost from 2150 to 2300, increased magical power from 60 to 70. To reflect, increased cost. So now it costs the same as Spear of the Magus. Which didn't make sense that it costs less than Spear of the Magus. But I guess, yeah, in certain situations, Spear is actually a better item, but yeah, whatever. Typhon's. Oh gosh. Hello. Tired. Typhon's Fang has a big impact during the early stages of the season, but fell off after a round of balanced adjustments. We are increasing the magical lifesteal this item provides to really help mages who can make use of lifesteal have a strong choice to work towards and enhance with additional items like Bancroft's Talent or Pythagorum's Piece, which Bancroft's Talent is not being nerfed. This is being buffed. Increased magical lifesteal from 10 to 15%. So let's just buff this and make you want to build Bancrofts more often. Let's just forget everything we said before about we want to nerf healing. When did they say that? Was that season 4? Am I crazy? Or was it the beginning of this season? I don't remember. And then this item didn't get nerfed. And now they buffed this back again. It's like, well, okay, throw all that in the garbage. Just take it. You guys can't see that I'm grabbing the image and throwing it away. But, you know, that's just why. I thought we were nerfing mages. Are we just making it worse? Do you want Anubis to be stronger? Increased magical power from 45 to 55 is like, why? That's a pointless change. Why would we do this? For bruiser mages and bridge item with a bit of defense and offense to be solid choice, Dynasty Plate Helm hasn't quite lived up to that role, increasing its overall potency. Voidstone has less power than this, and it's a better tank. Why would you buff this? What's the point? Look at other bruiser items. They don't have a lot of power. It's got more than Void Shield. Why would Void Stone? Why would you do that? Anyway, Stone of Binding. They want people to use it more. Increase magical power from 20 to 30. They want it to feel stronger. Successfully hitting an enemy god with crowd control will place a debuff on enemies hit. Debuff is decreased magical and physical protections versus 10 pen for teammates. This is actually better, technically, because that equate to 15 pen, flatly reducing the protections. It's approximating that. It's not directly that way, but that's typically how you would consider it. But yeah, this is a really good item, and it was underpowered, I thought. This is one of Bracken's best items. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, moving on to physical items. This will probably be much shorter. Malice has been in Smite for many years, but never fully found a home in most crit builds. Often it was positioned in a way that synergized with assassins that used abilities that could crit, i.e. Humbot, Circuit, blah blah. This has led the item to be niche at best and often overlooked. We are yet again giving a new passive to Malice that can synergize with wide range abilities and gods. Oh boy, change the passive again. Third time's the charm, right guys? Actually, this may be the fourth. I don't remember. New passive, successfully hitting an enemy with a critical strike will subtract 2 seconds from all your abilities currently on cooldown, except your ultimate ability. This effect can only happen once every 5 seconds, so it's still strong on the same gods. Also, Najat, too. I did not mention him. It's very good. Armillary Sash. Ring someone Armillary Sash, then you crit. Let's subtract cooldown, and then you do it again, and it's hilarious. Some other critical strike items feel slightly out of balance. Poisoned Star's powerful debuff effect is paired with high crit chance, making it too strong in builds even when it's not paired with more crit. This item should need to be paired with more crit in order to be effective. Poison Star increased cost from 24 to 2500. Decreased critical strike chance from 20% to 15%. Wind Demon decreased cost from 2700 to 2600. This is an AIDS item though. This needs to be destroyed. I hate it. It's a dumb BS slow. Oboe increased basic attack power scaling on passive from 50 to 60%. Silver Branch Bow increased physical power from 20 to 30. Make these stronger. Yay! Compete with crit, I guess. No, that's not the idea. These were just in a weaker place. Underutilized items. They want them to be look better. Okay, this is the bit of we want gods to have better anti-magic hybrid items, but we don't want them to be too strong, basically. So Runic Shield, because it's got low prots, they're giving it a little bit more health. This item has become increasingly useless, though. Unfortunately, it doesn't help a lot against Freya. It doesn't help against Kronos late, which are the two gods. Also Soul too, right? Those are the three gods it's designed to be helpful on, and by late game, it's pointless to have built this item. And it's dumb. Sad when a physical item becomes a better counter item because it has a slow on it. Midgardian Mail is actually a better counter item. And Kile. Remember the pronunciation. Increased cost from 2021 because they thought it was overperforming. Cudgel increased physical power from 5 to 10. Decreased health from 100 to 50. More power, less health, whatever. That's not a big deal. It's kind of a crap item anyway. Shillelagh. Decreased cost from 1500 to 1300. Increased physical power from 10 to 15. Wanted this to be stronger and not cost so much. It was a little weird for them. And then the Big Daddy, Blackthorn Hammer. Increased physical power from 25 to 35. The passive now transitions from cooldown reduction to mana regen at 25% mana, not 50%. So you gotta have less mana to get that benefit, but it's got more power now, so isn't that great? It's almost a busted item now. This change. Ooh boy, this is fun. Increased physical power on Runeforged Hammer from 40 to 55. Decrease health from 250 to 200, which doesn't matter because now you've made this a desirable item for hunters and assassins. It's hilarious. Imagine being Rom or on her. You already have a built-in slow. And another form of CC. They both each have at least 2 CCs. On her's got 3. So you think about this. Targets that are hit by any crowd control take increased damage, and now you've given this item more power too. What are you doing? Hunters are going to be stupid again. Also a bunch of assassins that'll get benefit out of this too, like Aja. Does his ult count as crowd control? Because that would be interesting to see how much more damage that does. Items, all classes, neutral items. Here we go. Supports have relatively strong itemization. The adjustments to mage items such as Soul Reaver will be the biggest buff. They are getting this update as they should be surviving magical damage more. However, there are some other tank items that felt underwhelming. The primary concern was around Gauntlet of Thebes. This item had a very strong launch. It was heavily tailored to the support class. After some adjustments to the item and many shifts in the meta, this item is not really viable. This item feels very weak until fully stacked, so we are buffing its upfront tank stats to make more supports feel comfortable building this item. Alright. Increase health from 200 to 275. Good solid tank item. At least it's not entirely broken like the first time it was in the game. Some of you may be saying, but wasn't that the season? No, it was in the game in beta and it was entirely broken. Made you impossible to kill. Healing was amazing. Playing Hercules and building this item was... We don't talk about it, honestly. But I don't think that's going to make it broken. It is pretty weak until it's stacked. Doesn't really do much. Oh, gosh. There it is again. Another yawn. Stone Guy is a strong tank item, especially against knock-up heavy teams. We want to ensure that players feel the healing from this item in a meaningful way and a bit more often. Players will now restore the full amount of health in half the time, and with a reduced cooldown may benefit from this item more than once in an extended fight. Emerald Talisman, increase MP5 from 6 to 10. Stone of Gaia, increase the speed at which the heal occurs from 10 to 5 seconds. Which means it ticks twice per second. Decrease internal cooldown from 60 to 45 seconds. Fun item. Underused. I mean, a lot of times it's hard to find a spot for this item. Granted, it does have a ton of health, but it does not have any protections on it. Anything like that, and it can be pretty well countered by anti-heal, which put it in a weird spot of being really edge scenarios where you use this like knock-up heavy teams, which didn't always happen that much. Now that it occurs more often like that, there's more situations where you can pick it up where there's actually less opportunities for it to be procced, but you get it more often. So maybe someone's got in their jungle, maybe they got a Fenrir, maybe they got, what assassins have knockups? Maybe you got a, maybe there's a Bacchus support on their team, maybe there's a blah 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 blah, whatever that, something that could pose a threat to your solo laner in terms of getting hit by a knockup. You might want to build those now. In more situations, Shield of Regrowth, underused item again, decrease cost from 2100 to 2000, increase MP5 and MP5 from 10 to 15. Spectral Armor, increase physical protection from 60 to 70, decrease damage dealt to you from critical strikes from 60 to 50%. This is being an anti-crit item, these changes are fine. This item has a few cases where it's well utilized, so a change here is not going to really affect things a whole lot. People might use it more in some situations, but it's still not really good to build unless you're being crit. Although the item does, I believe, have crowd control reduction, and it's got 70 protections now, so maybe there's situations outside of being anti-crit where you can actually build it. Anyway, here is some changes to Mass, Lano's Mass, getting an obvious nerf. This item was used a lot in really odd situations. Now they've increased the damage dealt and increased healing done from minus 20% to minus 25%. So now you're dealing 25% less damage and healing 25% less. So now you want to be careful. Don't do this all the time because you may just be completely useless. You'll be tanky, but you won't do anything. Rangeless Mask, increased ability damage dealt for 15 to 20%. This means both basic attack and ability damage are increased at the same amount, so the description will be simplified to just say increased damage dealt. Okay, I want this item to be more desirable. It does make you pretty vulnerable when you get this item, because I believe you take more damage. So they want it to buff it to make it seem a little better of an option. And Bumpus Mask is just getting increased protection for... Oh, it's getting increased power for no reason because it wasn't already a stupid item that made you go really fast. It was already a dumb item on Poseidon. Now let's just give it more power. I don't get that. Like, it makes you you take more damage, you deal less damage. And now it's just got more power. Though, to, I guess, compensate for that? I don't know. I think this item was fine where it was. Whatever. Warrior class. Anyway, God balance. The warrior class increased. They want to bring warriors back into the meta. Let's just keep it simple. Increase base HP of all warriors by 10. Increase base HP per level of all warriors by 3. I love warrior buffs because warriors are amazing. It's my favorite class. So, give me all the buffs. Make things a little more fun, maybe. Muzakov was a powerhouse coming into Season 5 and took a large hit to his high functionality. After these changes, he heavily fell out of favor. Even though most of the nerfs have been reverted, he is still struggling to make his mark. We want to focus on how often he can utilize his kit by lowering the cooldown on Swarm and making Honey less of a mana drain when used frequently. Swarm decreased cooldown from 16 to 12 to 15 to 11. Honey decreased mana cost from this to 60 at all ranks, so it's just cheaper across the board. Isn't that nice? Of course, my hatred for this god knows no bound. Actually, it does have boundaries because even though I'm dual main, a lot of warriors do counter him, actually do pretty well against him. So he's not as big of a threat to me anymore. I really don't care. He's not that good in Conquest, so I can respect the buffs being done. Anyway, Anubis tends to excel at lower levels of play but drop off at high-end Conquest. If you're good with this character, he doesn't drop off in any situation. He's totally stupid. God is risky and fragile, even though Sorrow gives him, what, 30% crowd control reduction now? Because that's okay. But with a huge amount of damage potential, we're increasing the early rank duration of his CC ability modifier. This should let him level his damaging skills more quickly and help his early game aggression and self-peel, which can be especially important in high rank conquest. I guess that's good because before what you would do is you would start leveling this after grasping hands. That's what I do anyway, because increased on duration ends up being better for his damage. I don't think this makes a big difference, though. Like, I mean, it's 0.4 seconds, 0.3 seconds, 0.2, but, like, he doesn't get good use out of Mummify early anyway because his abilities don't quite have that that ability to burst yet. So, I don't think it's going to be a big change. I don't think you'll see too much changes in leveling orders. You might decide to alternate between leveling this and Plague of Locusts now, once you have Grasping Hands done. Anyway, Alcon's passive was reworked a while back because of technical and clarity issues. The problem was his reworked passive didn't meet our usual definition of a passive ability, which is what? Is it use your abilities, get bonus power after XD. Yeah, because that's what you did to Susanoo. That's not a passive, but okay. Just make a god just flatly deal more damage. Don't use your brain. Use your fingers and press buttons. Whatever. Alcon tends to be very frustrating when he does too much burst, so we are looking to breathe new life into the god in a different way. With the new design on Dragon King's Sword, Alcon will be more evasive and stronger in longer engagements. The bonus cooldown reduction and self-healing encourages Alcon players to make multiple gank attempts on enemies. Dragon King's Sword. Every 20 seconds, Alcon gets a stack of Dragon King's Sword. As long as he has a stack, his next non-ultimate ability that deals damage to an enemy god will consume a stack to have its cooldown reduced by 2 seconds and heals Alcon for 5% of his maximum health. Successfully executing an enemy god with King of the Eastern Seas fully charges Dragon King's Sword. This effect can stack up to 3 times. Makes it a little more interesting, so he does different things. That's a cooldown reduction and healing, which is cool, especially if you're jungling. Having low cooldowns and being able to keep your health up is a big deal when you're running around the map trying to hit those camps. Really good change. Now this is fun. Vakkas has always been an absolute unit. Why did they say that? Why? But often he struggled in Conquest where his kit didn't feel functional until later levels. Anyway, paraphrase. Chug is now available at level 1 and has a rank 0. Yay, you can just chug. Rank 0 Chug does not provide any protections. Rank 0 Chug costs 35 mana. Chug now provides 40% Joker meter at all ranks. Well, that's cool. Because at level 1, you're going to take you're probably, what is the thing? Belch. I guess that's what it's called. Yeah, you're going to take that at level 1 and then chug and then use it. Chug in base, wait, chug again, and then you have your boy is ready to go and burp on some people. It's really fun. That's going to make his early game really interesting. His rank 1's going to be, this level 1 will be pretty ridiculous, honestly, because he'll have access to his stun on his 3 at level 1 if you take the point in it. It's pretty crazy. 40%. It's like, dude, really? What? At all ranks? That's crazy. He's broken. Best tech can be powerful in the right hands, but mana costs early in her overall presence late game make it difficult for her to really excel. Yeah, she's had those same problems for a long time. She uses too much mana early and late. She doesn't do anything. Because you have tanky guardians tanky gods protecting the carries that she's trying to hit, and cats don't do well against CC. So increase physical power scaling from 20 to 25% on Razor Whip. Declaw, decrease mana cost from 70 to 90 to 60 at all ranks. Maybe she'll be a little more relevant. We'll see how that works out. She's not a great conquest pick right now. Baron Samedi, everyone hates this god. He's stupid, easy to use, and he gives you free wins because his CC on Life of the Party is a stupid thing that you can't actually always use your beads against properly, because if you're too close to him, you'll beads and you won't walk out of it, and you're dead still. Hilarious. Consigned Spirits. Decrease bonus healing based on missing health from 12.5% to 10%. Yay! This needs to be nerfed to the ground. He shouldn't get a self-heal. Okay, well, maybe that would be too far, but this ability is completely dumb. They think they need to take the slow immunity off of it. I think that would be a good place to start. Because if he's already healing with it, does he really need to get increased movement and slow immunity? Really? No. But he has it anyway. Life of the party, decreased total health damage from 15 to 10%. Paraphrase, Bellona changes, put her in a weird spot. She's underpicked. People don't use her that much anymore. Her ult damage was not in line with other warriors. So they have increased base at all ranks from these numbers to these numbers. I'm not going to read them all because it's going to take a little bit, and I'm trying to get through this because there's a lot of information here. Anyway, paraphrase again, Kabrakan's ultimate was weird and made it difficult to tell where you were actually hitting sometimes, so expanded the hit area of this ability to damage all gods in the entire rectangle shape in front of Kabrakan. This area is as wide as his wall area is now, extending from Kabrakan up to the range of his walls. 35 unit range, 25 unit width. So now it's clear who is going to be hit when you cast this. Camazot's Vampire Bat's increased buff duration from 210 to 300 seconds. Now persists through death. So keep your lifesteal. It's fun. Never run out of health because you always have Vampire Bats. That basically just gives him persistent lifesteal. Though I don't know if that's a good idea. He'll never run out of lifesteal. He will always have it. And it scales. Hate this god already. Why are they doing this? To the point, why would you give a god persistent lifesteal? For no reason. He's got it too. Actually, now that we're talking about it, this is still garbage. They want to make him better, but he's still garbage because his ult cooldown is goofy. It's really long. Bramble Blast doesn't do enough damage at max rank. You couldn't make this... No, actually, with the way they made this scale, that's where it would level out, but this should just be 80 to, like, 250 or something. This ability's not that great. Fafnir Draconic Corruption. Okay, blah blah. Paraphrase again. He's suffering in the meta, I guess, because he's designed around the big plays in his ultimate. They want it to feel more impactful. Draconic Corruption, increased Dragon Breath from 20 to 40. Plus 10% of your magical power to 20 to 60. Plus 10% of your magical power. Get ready to spit on some people. So you're going to be doing it a lot. Argus the Defender, increased cooldown from 70 to 90. It took them this long to decide to do this. Yay! Everybody hates Hera. Destroy Argus. It should honestly still be lower because the passive reduces his cooldown. If you play it right, it's still on a low cooldown. If you get Chronos Pendant, it's still on a low cooldown. Doesn't matter. You'd have to make their cooldown 120 seconds to balance this all the way to other ultimates to account for the passive and the itemization. That's a good start. Decrease cooldown from 90 to 70 seconds on Excavate, because why not, bruv, Hercules? It's not like it's the most single proc of the single highest proc of damage on a warrior's ability. Guan Yu has the most powerful total damage, but Hercules has the biggest single burst, and they've given it less cooldown. Said he fell hard. You can't say that about this god. He's been broken ever since he's been in the game. And everyone just pretends he's not. Everyone just pretends at rank 20 he gets 75 power for free when you hit him. Everyone just pretends his heel isn't broken. Everyone just pretends that this ultimate isn't insane. And he comes back every year. It's like, hello. Can't say it. Can't say that. Goddess of Magic. Can't say the name. Is. We'll do that. Anyway, Dispel Magic, increase range. Circle Protection, increase range. Because they want increased range because Spirit Ball has increased range, has a lot of range already, so yay. King Arthur, a bunch of stuff. He was janky and weird. His movement was really strange. How he looked, his ult animation and camera was really jarring, especially if you were hit by it. Blah, 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 all of that. He had weird functionality issues that made him super awkward. Anyway, in general, basic techs have had a large pass to improve functionality and remove jitter players would experience, especially on higher ping environments. Fixed an issue where King Arthur could be silenced permanently from Ganesha's Ohm. How did you find that one? That's interesting. Fixed an issue where King Arthur could crash players with his ultimate. That was happening. Fixed an issue where King Arthur could speed up players' animations with his ultimate. That was also happening. Thanks, Mythimoo. Captured that one on video. Fixed an issue where basic attacks could proc item effects they were unintended to. Fixed an issue where Excalibur's Fury could stun targets behind King Arthur. Updated the camera on Excalibur's Fury to provide better vision while airborne. Updated the camera on Excalibur's Fury for enemies to be less jarring. And a couple other things. Twinkly Blade Storm increased energy gain from 1 to 2 per hit. It doesn't have a lot of hits. So, I guess they thought, let's give it more energy gain. And Sundering Strike decreased charge range from 16 to 12. So that thing can hit from a pretty good distance. Everyone loves a good Loki nerf, right? Anyway, paraphrase, this god is stupid and dumb. BS, nobody likes him. He should be removed from the game entirely. Etc. They've nerfed him based at decreased damage progression from 1.5.5.5, 1.5 to 0.75.5, 0.5.5, 1.5 times damage. Vanish. Remove the damage mitigation from this ability. Let's also remove the ability for him to stay stealth when he takes damage. Because every other stealth works that way, his doesn't. Why do we have this inconsistent bullshit? Why is this god in the game? Look, he's stupid. I don't know why I could paraphrase this, but there's no reason to buff Osiris because these were buffed once already. Let's buff them more. Scaling was buffed already, and so now let's just put more base stats. I'm not even going to talk about this because there's no reason. Pele continues to be the #1 most being gotten ranked with a strong performance to match. One key element that empowers Pele in the higher ranks of the game is her passive. The power and lifesteal gained from this allows players to completely turn losing fights into winning ones. This is the intended goal with the ability, but it's still working at too great of a magnitude. Decreased duration from 6 to 4 seconds. Decreased power from 2 per level 1. From 2 per level 2 1. From 2 to 1 per level, guys. We're missing words here. Can y'all learn to please use proper grammar? Anyway, done. She's been nerfed slightly. Though what I usually just do is pay attention to the ring under her feet, which shows that her passive is active. And once that's gone, then hit her with everything you got. But yeah, it was too strong, so nerf it. Thanks. Science-based physical protection per level is far below any other mage. We are bringing out a better match protections of other mages, which is fine. If it doesn't match, then fix it. And I can say from experience that he does seem to take a lot of physical damage, so it was noticeable that he was weaker. Anyway, Ratatusker may now sell his acorn. Yay! For what, though? Because it's actually a good item anyway, so I don't know why he'd sell it. It's already pretty good. 50 power, 20% movement. Why would I sell that? It's boost, but it's better. Anyway. Alright. Whatever. Anyway. Paraphrase thought. On release, he was weaker than everybody else. He got some buffs. Helped him out. Made him feel really frustrating to deal with in modes like Joust. Which means, but is also tough to use because his other abilities besides this didn't always provide him with that much. Hieroglyphic Assault. Anyway, to fit with the changes to this, Hieroglyphic Assault increased damage from 40 to 120 to 45 to 125. Evade and Punish no longer stuns but pierces through enemies and roots the first god hit and slows every other enemy hit. Root and slow lasts 1.5 seconds at ranks. 30% slow at all ranks. Final Judgment increased scaling from 100 to 120%. So now you have a better ability to fight him because you're not going to get just immediately stunned once you get near, if you get near him. It makes him less frustrating to deal with, but I think this gives him a bit more versatility because it pierces through enemies. It'll hit everything, which is cool, and it applies a slow, which if you're hitting every target with some kind of CC, that's better. That can be better than hitting one with a hard CC, because now you can make it more difficult for a target that you're going for his teammates to help him because they've been slowed while he's been rooted. It gives you better control on all of your opponents. So I think this is a cool change, and I don't think it's going to be bad for him. I think this will actually be better for him. So, see what happens. And finally, we come to the end. Zeus, the man himself, brought the thunder and the lightning to the battleground. One of the original gods. Zeus is a powerhouse in most modes, bringing a heavy amount of early and mid-game burst with teammates that can keep him safe. Want to increase opportunities for players in these modes to deal with his pressure? Aegis Assault helps confirm his damage more easily, and low cooldown makes it hard to find an opening against Zeus. Additionally, his high base damage allows him to bring the pain early, even without many damage items. We did increase his scaling as a whole, which should help him in Conquest, allowing players who can bring Zeus to the late game strong AoE damage to see success, but this changed its overall targeted as overperformance in other game modes, i.e. Joust. Anyway, Aegis Assault cooldown increased from 10 to 12 seconds. Detonate charge increased damage from 135 to 60 to 180. Increased magical power scaling from 18 to 25%. However, reduced multiplication of damage for each charge from 123 to 1.75 2.4. So, does more base damage and scaling, but does less overall multiplication damage. So it's not a 1-2 dead anymore. He would, in the past, he'd hit his chain lightning, and pop, you're dead, basically. Which you could still be dead. It still could be pop, you're dead. But less often in the early game. Lightning Storm adjusted damage from 120 to 200 to 100 to 220. Increased magical power scaling from 50 to 55%. These changes are interesting. Overall, I don't think it is a... I mean, this is a buff to this ability. I think this is technically not... I'd have to do the numbers on that. to actually determine that. Give me a moment to let me do that. Let's be... Okay, let's go here. Assume a 500... Let's assume 500 magic power. Let's look. So, I don't know if it applied the charge multiplier on base or after scaling, so I'll do after scaling. Plus 135, 225 times 3, 675. Now let's do new numbers. 180 times 0.25. Oh wait, no. 500 times 0.25 plus 180 times 2.4 is more damage. It's a buff. Okay, never mind. I'm completely wrong. That's fun. That's interesting. They talk about that with the hard to find an opening because of low cooldown. But all they did was increase the cooldown on Aegis Assault, but they gave him more damage everywhere else except Chain Lightning, which kind of contradicts what they just said up here. What? How does that... I don't think that changes his overall performance in other modes. That makes him worse. That makes him stronger. What? Okay. I mean, y'all have done that, and y'all have given him... Y'all have given all these mana options in Doom Orb now, so he has more survivability than he did before because now you've encouraged the mana build, and then you can get Doom Orb and Book of the Dead. Just keep him alive pretty well, and it's like, okay, let's just buff Zeus for no reason. His inherent problem is his lack of mobility, and that's always been his thing. That's always been what kept him from being a high-tiered character. Was he was incredibly easy to gank because he has no mobility. His health is terrible. It's like now they're going to give him so much damage that he's just a threat anyway, which I don't know how that is. Anyway, guys, pew. That's going to do it for this patch notes video today. It was a huge one and a long one. We probably won't see another one this long this season. So, those of you that stuck around till the end, thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate it. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. So always leave a comment down below about the patch notes. Tell me what you're excited about with the new season, what you like, what you don't like also. And I will see you guys in the game for Season 6. Alright. How was I going to end this video? Super awkward. Yep. I'll see you guys later for some more Smite in Season 6. Have a good one. If my hotkey would actually work and I can end the recording.